stay on Facebook.
Mitch happy.
Yes. Mitch wallet and mouth happy.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Have it in. Get some more. Let's get some more.
Hello, everyone out there in Whiskey Land. It's good to see you, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. We are happy to see everyone out there with us tonight because we are doing a show that we don't normally kind of delve into. It is whiskeys under $30, and holy crap, is there a bigger list than I thought we were going to have. But this goes to show there are some fantastic whiskeys to fill your bar with if you're just starting out and you do not have to blow up your wallet right away. You know what I mean? But it's a nice list. Mike has done a fantastic job here of lining up bottle pictures of everything we're going to be discussing tonight. It is incredible. So thank you everyone in the chat for being here and on time. Do you want to tell them about the Bar Cart Co-op tonight, Mike, or do you want me to?
I'd love to talk about the Bar Cart Co-op.
I know you do.
Okay, so we are proud members of the Bar Cart Co-op, which is a collection of friends who create content for the whiskey and other distilled spirits public. The Bar Cart Co-op YouTube and Facebook pages have information about upcoming and past special shows, which happen to be about every quarter. There are blind tastings, distiller panels, discussions of special collaborations, and the usage of unique grains. Bar Cart Co-op has educational and fun episodes for your enjoyment. The oldest show in the group is Distillers Talk, which is it's hosted by Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. It's a conversation with people from distilleries and distillery adjacent that gets into the weeds with their interviews. New episodes arrive at the end of the work week. And if that one's not enough for you, check out One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. This is where Alan Bishop answers any questions about distilling, which would include individual grains, mash bills, equipment, methodology. New episodes come out randomly, so subscribe to that one. Then we have Bourbon Turntable, where they mix the love of music with the love of whiskey. Kevin has conversations with musicians and writers and distillery folks and common folks about music and whiskey. It releases every Wednesday on all your platforms, including YouTube. This week, I believe, is part 2 of Leilani Kilgore and Jeremiah Johnson, who are 2 different musicians who will be, they're opening up for the Cold Stairs this coming weekend in St. Louis, where I will be joining Kevin for that one. Then there's also If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything, which is a show about spirits and the paranormal among us, as well as the unexplained and the spiritual. Subscribe on Spotify to get the 3 previous seasons and the 4th season, which is currently in progress. And last but certainly not least, we have the Whiskey Ring podcast, where David Levine interviews people that you might know and you might not know. David does the things that we won't do.
Speaking of, congratulations to David.
Yeah.
He announced they're having a baby today.
Yeah.
So
there's a little cheers.
Congratulations. And
once again, doing something
I
won't be doing.
And I won't be doing it either. So
cheers, sir.
Woo! Sorry, mine had a little vanilla kick up there. I'm making copy one.
What are you guys having, by the way, before we, or do we want to wait till we get to those on the list?
I'm not sipping anything on my list at the moment.
Okay.
I will spoil mine. So I am sipping on the cheapest one that's on my list, which for me is Old Fitzgerald 80 proof, coming in at a whopping $11.49. Nice.
See, that's a solid choice. There's nothing wrong with that one.
No. So everyone knows we were talking about the list, and our list is basically things that we have bought that we would buy again, not things that we have had, but things that we buy and rebuy for under $30. Spoiler alert, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's deeper field than what I thought.
Yeah, and we'll go. Well, I'll start the clicking on the order, but there are only 2 whiskeys out of a list of about 50 that all 3 of us had on our list. So we'll go through those.
One I see, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Well, we'll get there. This one's pretty standard, I would say. This should be on most people's lists. Is Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing about this? Since it's on all of our lists, what's your favorite thing about it?
Up until now, to be honest, it was price point, because you were getting a little bit bolder flavor profile, and it wasn't costing you a significant amount more. Right now, for where I was, it was teetering right on the $30 range. $30.99, 28 in some other places. So it had gone up, but it is the 101 is in my mind at least a 1 step, if not 2 steps up from their kind of basic Wild Turkey. I don't know.
Yeah. Mitch, what about you?
I am looking to see how much Wild Turkey costs here in Kentucky, because if it's $30, I'm crazy. All right, so it's $20 here in Kentucky. So if you need your Wild Turkey, come out here. For me, I mean, it's gorgeous. I love the proof for $20, right? If you're going to make a cocktail, I would recommend 100 proof or higher. It's also, I think it balances wood, spice, and cherry really well. And, not a lot of places do that well for $20 or even higher at 100 proof.
I agree. All of the above answers, and also it's good to cook with. we would seriously marinate chicken in it, just Wild Turkey 101, or make burgers and pour some on the burgers while they're on the grill. Also cooked it down and used it for a base for barbecue sauce. And I mean, and at that price point that it's at, you could do that without being like, oh God, that's so much money. But it should be on everybody's list no matter what. So,
and also as a universal, when we're mentioning a lot of these, we also did base off of Total Wine, just because it's a countrywide thing where you get a little bit more unified pricing. Where, like I said, there was a range around here, sadly, but
a range between the 3 of our states too. So
yes.
So there's the second one. This is only the second one that's on all of our lists.
For this one, it was one of my first Irish whiskeys that I had. And I would say that obviously, like with a lot of things, I like the higher end versions that come out now from Tullamore Dew a little bit more. But for $17 or so, 15 to 17, it's a pretty solid Irish whiskey where you do get some buttery notes through on it and stuff. Compared to some of the other lower end, I don't want to say lower end, but lower priced Irish whiskeys, some of those ones start getting a little more of that metallic note that you get in the baseline at Jameson, and it can be a little bit heavier for me that I'm not a big fan of. So for the price in the Irish whiskey category, I think it holds its own in its weight class. How about that?
Yeah.
So my tasting notes for this were better than Jameson.
that tracks.
That tracks.
That was literally the reason I put this on there, because I was like, I remember that being better than Jameson. And I was like, for less 30, but yeah, all right, there we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mike?
I agree. I mean, if I had to choose an inexpensive Irish, there's another one that's coming up on the list, but Tullamore Dew, it ticks the boxes. It's pretty easy. And it has one of my favorite long form commercials ever. If you have not watched it, look up the Tullamore Dew Parting Glass. Little mini episodes about 10 minutes long. It's
Fantastic.
absolutely gorgeous. And then also there's it hits you in the feels. So anyway, I dig it quite a bit.
And there's like there's 2 or 3 different little commercials to that too. And I will say that on that line of those ads, some of the best marketing.
Yeah.
When you see it, you're like, this is what commercial, if you're going to make a commercial for what it is or for a section, this is what you're supposed to do. God damn it. A lot of the other stuff now, just a horrible embarrassment. What they're doing is like, I don't know. It makes me happy every time you watch it, like there is, I don't know. It's fantastic. That's one of those ones where I want to I'm like, who are those people? You want them on your staff.
Yeah, very well done. All right. So these next 3 are ones where Pat matched up with somebody.
Oh, I like that.
So this is Pat and Mitch. You two both had this on your list.
Yes. I'll let you start, Mitch. I've been starting off a lot lately, so I'll let you go first on this one.
I tell people this is my favorite bourbon of all time. It's 90 proof. When I got in, it was $20. Now it's $30. But still, Four Roses holds amazing place in my heart. It's complex yet not aggressive, and I just think it's one of the best whiskeys, much less the best sub $30 whiskeys that you can buy.
Yes, I was going to say the one, its bigger brother, the single barrel, is the one that kind of that was the whiskey that turned me into real whiskey, if you would. Before it was Jack Daniels and shots at shows and Wild Turkey, but I don't remember liking it too much in my college years, flavor-wise. It's amazing how things expand as you get older and what you mix with it in the evening. But like you said, I don't want overly subtle complexity because it's not, but it is maybe medium powered. It's nicely layered together with its flavors. And for me, it kind of accentuated what is a bourbon supposed to taste like when I had it. I was like, damn, okay, now I get it.
Right. I think they hit the sweet spot there because at 90 proof, it is complex, but not overwhelming. I think they did a very good job there.
Hey, Shannon, how's it going? And Dave, everyone else out there, good to see you. I see Emily snuck in late.
All right. This next one, Pat, you and I matched up on this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Anything Compass Box. Let's be frankly honest, pretty safe. Now, this is one of the ones that lands into the beginner price point for them, but that doesn't mean it is not worth getting.
No.
When we were talking complex, this is where I start getting a couple more berry notes out of this one. It's much more complex and layered than you would expect for a $30 whiskey, and then blended one, if I'm right. But they do fantastic stuff there. So I don't want to say I want to expect anything less, but some of their other ones that they have are get to the level of almost jaw dropping. It's like, ooh, this one not obviously at that level, but for what it is, it's one that is, I would say you're going to want to have on your back bar anyways, because you could grab that at any point and pretty much everyone's going to be happy. So.
Yes. A bonus to this one, like everything you said, it is really solid for the money. It's a very easy drinking scotch. And I have a couple times been able to pick up single barrel picks of it, more than $30, but about $50. And pretty darn good. Say Compass Box, that's, you're going to get a good whiskey. They don't put out anything that's bad, but this one's, for the price point, it's pretty darn good scotch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would have put it on my list if it was under $30 at my Total Wine.
Yeah,
Fair enough. That's how it swings.
that's how. Okay, this is the other one you and I matched up on, Pat.
Yep. For the price point, it was like, hold on here. I'll bring up the picture because this is this also factored in. Obviously not super complex on the list of things, but for $22.99 for a 175, it rings in pretty healthy.
Yes.
That's what it was at the one liquor store at the High V in Ashwaubenon on Green Bay. So go ahead, Mike. I think you're going
to it's Old Crow. It doesn't hold a candle to Old Crow. But I always have Old Crow because that was my dad's whiskey that he kept on hand. And I remember when I was muling Templeton Rye when it first came out, when it was better because it was before everyone was buying all the MGP rye up and stuff. So I was muling it down here all the time and it's picking up. And I remember getting a bottle of it one time when Dad asked me how much it was. And it was like, I don't know, $30-$35 or something like that. And he gets up, goes in the kitchen, I hear him come around, squeaking the Lazy Susan. He comes out and he slams a bottle down on the table and he goes, $7.99, buddy. but that's also what he would put in for, have like a shot of whiskey and what he put in as hot toddies. And so there's a definite soft spot for Old Crow, but Old Crow, it's kind of like people that buy McCormick's vodka. You're buying it for a purpose. So, and it does that job.
Hold on here.
So in Kentucky, it's still $7.99 a bottle. Throwing that out there.
And
22 was a bit much. It's 17.
Yeah, I was just going to grab that. Shannon, is that because
it's a little birdie here. I'm getting it closer.
Oh, I've got different Old Crow stuff around me because of course. Let me get the picture out of the way. Got my Old Crow bird and some other glasses and stuff too.
So this one's fancy. I don't let people play with this one.
Oh yeah,
because he's wearing a top hat too. I mean, that's just.
I think I have 3 of those left.
Oh.
They can't take a hit. I'll say that.
No, that's just like in a very protected spot. When I went down here, I was very up and over and around the back.
Yeah. Shannon, one of these times we get together, you have to bring your glasses so we can have old Crow glassware drinking. Okay. The next one, Mitch and I, these are ones Mitch matched up on. So Mitch.
I'm going to pull mine out here. Because there was about 4 or 5 that you guys, I think, hit in a row. So
I discovered this because I worked at Brown-Forman, and this is Brown-Forman's Irish whiskey. I honestly like this one a little more than Tullamore do. It is triple cask. So that they use sherry, virgin, and used bourbon casks. Mm-hmm. So it gets a really nice wood finish. It's much more pronounced than your average Irish.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not.
It's not like bourbon level of wood. It's just.
It's it's been so long since I had it, so I don't want to misspeak. But from my memory, Bushmills, it was a little harsh and woody from memory. But yeah, Slane, and for the money, like when it first saw it hitting the shelves, and it was like $22 a bottle, and yep, and pretty decent. So, yeah, I think it's a really good budget Irish to have around. There are some really good budget Irishes to have around, and I think some really good budget Irishes that all blow stock Jameson away.
Oh well, that's not stock Jameson. Is a mistake.
Jameson blows Jameson out of the water with a lot of their other releases. Let's be 100% honest.
That's exactly what I get on. I'm like, well, pretty much everything else they do is better. And then when you get to the high end line, when you have that, you kind of want to go back and slap them for making the original Jameson. They're like, but we sell this much of it, and
I mean, Black Barrel, if it was under $30 here, I 100% would have put
Yeah.
that on the list.
Yeah,
Because
I agree with that.
I think it takes these two out that we put on there so far, in my opinion, just for my palate. But
Yeah.
it's like 32 near me. So,
Yeah, it's just a titch over. But yeah, I know what you mean. But it's not the base. You know what I mean? They're bases.
All right.
It has that terrible minerality to it. That's painful.
We got our next one here.
Yes, sorry.
Which this is another one. Word got out,
Ooh,
which really
this
kind of
should've
pissed
been
me
a
off
hot
and made it hard to find for a while. And now my Costco's got it. But
Yep, same here. This
it's
is one of the best old-fashioned whiskeys you'll have in your life.
next time I run across some, but at a decent price, because it jumped up like $15 when people, it was ridiculous. And now it's back down.
Yeah.
Our Costco has it for $29, I think. So
I think our Costco is like 22, 23.
oh
So that's
wow.
where my wood.
Oh yeah, for
grocery right
20
here.
for $23, this blows a lot of other whiskeys out of the
Yeah.
water.
Totally agree. Just super solid
Slide, if you slide it into a blind, I could see it sliding up into the 40-ish range. You know what I mean? If you're blind
Yeah.
tasting things and people's opinions, not for everybody, but
Right. So for those of you who don't know, this is 114 proof Jim Beam. So if you like Jim Beam, this is turning it to 11, right? And it makes a darn good old fashioned.
It's baby bookers, man.
Kind of, yeah.
yeah.
It's like the ancient age of never mind. Okay, there's the
You're
other
right,
one.
though.
Oh, this baby right here.
This is my favorite rye in the world. Not sipping rye, but if you're making a cocktail with rye, it should be Rittenhouse. There are other great 100 proof ryes out on the market, and I put another one on my list. But this one's it for me. Like if I go to a bar and they have a cocktail made with rye, I want it made with Rittenhouse.
Yeah, it's solid and forever under $20. Forever and ever around here. Just stupid easy to go and get. I don't have one right now because I drank it, but it's another along with the Wild Turkey 101 that I've got a bottle all the time. So and this other one too, which I like for other reasons. Yeah, but that one, that's budget slap in the mouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
So around me, Rittenhouse is like $5 more a bottle than Old Overholt.
Really?
And I think it's worth it personally, but I do like Old Overholt.
Now, have you had the other Old Overholts yet? There's
So,
like a 10 and 110 proof or something.
I don't think
I had one of them, which I did like quite a bit, but I can't get them around me. At least I don't see them around me anymore.
I don't remember. I don't think I did. Right. It's almost like alcohol affects your memory.
Okay. Well, speaking of alcohol and memory, there's another one that's on both of our lists, which I do have that. And there's actually a really good side thing about this on Gene Nassif's. If you follow him on Facebook, Gene, who does Obtainium and works with Cat's Eye, but he has his own Obtainium. He is a what do you call him? Independent bottling, and he did a pick of an MGP 99% corn, and they did a tater sticker that said Helicorn, and the fine folks at Heaven Hill sent him a nice letter, a cease and desist, and he laughed it off. And he because he had every right to. And so Gene, also being an attorney.
Yes.
I saw that video.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
That's
Hey,
amazing.
yeah, that's a great story. I love that part of it. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Ah, I just saw Neil pop in, and I found my copy. I don't know, you can't really see it, of the Ribensons from Neely, named after
Oh,
the Ribensons. Organization. I'm still working on it.
skills. All right. We got like 5 more that we matched up on.
Oh,
Well, I was gonna say, now that you're looking at them, not this one, but 1 or 2 up, I think I have to make an addendum to mine, but that's okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's great. It's $25 for a liter here. It was severely underpriced when it was Brown Forman stuff. Now that it's Sazeracs, people swear it's different, but it's still darn good.
I have not had the new bottling yet.
Neither have I.
Because I had bought.
I haven't bought a new bottle of it. I tried it.
Yeah. When they announced it and they're like, oh, it's going to be bought out, and I'd had 1 or 2 on the shelf. I'm like, well, crap. So I found like 3 or 4 more because it wasn't like they made it sound like it's going to go away, and then they're like the next week, oh no, it's not going away. It's just going to do this. And anyway, but I mean, for God's sakes, it's just a really good whiskey. I mean, it's pretty hard to beat.
I agree.
And also bang for the buck. This one also spiked up in price. That irritated me. They were like, "Oh, this is so underrated." It's like, shut up.
I remember when this was $11.99 a bottle.
Yeah.
I think it's like $15.99 now. That's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like this and the Black Label, Evan Williams. To me, for a very, very long time, Evan Williams was what you drank when you wanted bourbon, because I didn't have money for anything else, but I still wanted to drink something good. So let's see here, $18.99.
Yeah.
now.
Wow. Price just went up by $1.
Mm-hmm.
Got the Mitch Weddle bump. But yeah, just solid, inexpensive bourbon. And like, this is one that if going camping or somewhere like that, and you're like, oh, we got to do something that people are going to drink or whatever. For outdoors, it's great because if, not saying this has ever happened, but if someone drops a bottle and breaks it, you don't feel so bad, you know? And you can put it in anything, you can do whatever you want to with it, or just drink it straight. And it's pretty good. So, anyway, I enjoy it. And this is second to the last one.
This one I should have been in on too.
Okay, so
I kind of blanked on this one. I don't know. Maybe it was under
Why-
the range I clicked on.
where did you first hear of JTS Brown, and why is it your favorite? That's what I'm curious.
I don't want to say my favorite, but it should have made the list.
No, well, or I should say one of your favorites under 30.
I heard about it from, I think, Mitch and some other people from Kentucky. And when my sister was driving back through there, she actually just picked up a bottle of a couple different things, and that was one of them. For being $10 to $11 in most places, it's a really nice whiskey. It's not, I'm not going to say the flavor profiles are overly profound or laying in heavily on you, but it's a really nice, easy drinker for the price that doesn't have much bad with it. You know, there's not a lot of flaws to what it is, but it's, I don't know, it's a nice light entry whiskey as well too for people. If you haven't had a bourbon, it's a nice, it's one of the ones I'm like, you could start people with that because it's not overly aggressive in any way. So
It is under $10 near me right now.
So the 80 proof is under 10 near me. The 100 proof is not near me. But so they're both made by Heaven Hill. So like the Evan Williams 100 and this are the same mash bill, right? And they're both bottled and bond, I think. Well, the 100 proof JTS Brown is. So they're both 4 years old. Vastly different tastes.
different parts of the warehouse, maybe.
So yeah, it's just where they're picking it from, but also JTS Brown is $6 a bottle, cheaper than Evan Williams 100. So this would have been what I drank when I was younger if I had known about it, but I didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So this used to be what I used to work at I used to work at Westport Whiskey and Wine, and what I would do is when people were like, "I need something that I can only get in Kentucky," I'd be like, "This, it's $10. I'm not telling you to buy like a $900 overpriced bottle of Weller or something like that." Or if in the tasting room, people would be like, "Man, pour me something that'll blow my mind." Right? It was $1 for a full pour because it was a $10 bottle. So I'd give them a half pour. And they'd be like, "Oh, I mean, it's pretty good. I just stopped blowing my mind." And I'd be like, "Guess how much it was for that pour?" And they'd be like, $7. And I'd be like, 50 cents. And they'd be like, "What the?" And that was really fun.
That's nice when you do that. Before you go further, I want to jump in here for a second because I was going to mention next week's show where we're going to be doing Blue Ice Huckleberry Vodka cocktails. Now, later this week, I'm going to post the couple that we're going to do. One obviously will be one with lemonade because it's simple, but it's absolutely fantastic for what it is, and that kind of fits into a different group of cocktails where I want to find one for every season. Where summer, winter, that's kind of like the summer drink where all you have to do is pour two things together and you walk away, and you've done a great job. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because if you go check out here, you can suggest maybe a cocktail on their list that they have that you might want us to try. That's on their website. But otherwise, later this week, we'll come up with the 2 or 3 we'll be making and drinking then next week on Monday. Sorry, now we can go on with the show.
You're good. Last one that Mitch and I matched up on, and what I'm sipping on right now. Okay, so I gave this to some friends of mine blind, and then because I knew what would happen if I put the bottle in front of them, and so they all liked it. It's like they liked it, like the sweetness of it, and they liked the proof of it, and it was just really solid. And then of course I put the bottle in front of them, and then you had 7 guys who just kept saying cock over and over again. And what's funny is they on Whiskey Crusaders, when they did this as one of their normal tastings, the whole time you have to go back and find it. It's a couple years ago now, I think. They're doing it, and the whole time Will is sitting over there on the side, and he just keeps going cock. He just keeps saying it, and Matt cannot hold himself together when he's doing it. But it's just like in the middle of whatever of anything, and Sarah's talking, he's cock.
Well, dreams of getting monetized just died.
They're all good. But it's good, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard that when they did this, it was a competitor. It's supposed to be a competitor to 101, which is why they made it 0.5%. It's 51.5%. So then it's 103. So it was a little higher than 101 and whatever. I don't know if that's really true, but.
And I heard that the previous owner of Westport Whiskey and Wine was the one who told him to do that, Chris Zabrowski.
Really? Interesting.
We will have to ask him the next time I see him. But
I like that.
Yeah.
If it was, I would not be surprised. He is far smarter and more influential than like your average store owner has any right to be.
Yes.
Well, if you're right on a lot of picks, a lot of the people start respecting what you're saying. So, I mean, that matters and builds up over time. At least in my mind.
I agree. All right. These are my singles, and I had too many. So I'm going to go a little fast through mine.
I'm drinking behind this little bottle that pops up. It's really, you just keep sipping on things quietly.
Move me down there. Y'all got to hide behind the bottles so far, and I haven't. And my list is huge.
That's because you're the man. Kevin always staying on topic.
There, Mitch. That makes you feel better.
Okay, so my quick ones, one that's solid that I do like to get around, the Wild Turkey 101 Rye. I dig it for the reasons I like 101. It's not on the shelf as often as I would like to have it on there, but I think it's a really good one to have around. It's just a nice solid rye whiskey. Going next here is another Irish. The Sexton, inexpensive, and also if you want to make money on a bet with people, is you say, I'll bet you that you can't pour this without spilling, and chances are you will be correct unless they know the key on how to do it. It's an interesting bottle to hold. If you've never poured it before, it's a pain in the neck. However, yeah, it's pretty decent, inexpensive one to keep around. Also on the Tullamore rum, I do enjoy the Tullamore rum. It's just got a little something different on the end of it, but it's not overly rum. It's just there's just a little bit of rum sweetness on the end of it, which I like as a change. But I had a few bottles of it around because it was one of those sale deals. I picked them up, and I was very glad to have those. This one, now listen. It's a sourced whiskey. It's MGP rye. There's MGP rye. It's like finding an attorney. Throw a rock, you're going to hit one. However, for the price for sourced rye, it's pretty low if you just want to get an inexpensive rye whiskey. Templeton being, whatever, and as an Iowan and all the stuff that they've done, and you can still buy real Templeton rye if you know people. And I had some last week. So, but this, for the price that you can get for a sourced rye whiskey, you could do worse. I'll say that you do worse for the money if you're trying to get a rye whiskey. What I would rather pick up all the time, but I can't pick up all the time. I used to get this all the time for $20 to $25. That's a good rye. I enjoy it quite a bit. When I see it, I buy it so I can have one around there because it's another good solid one. And then I think I got one more Irish. This one, I got introduced to Powers by a friend of mine whose family, his mom and dad are from Ireland, and he said that was the house whiskey, and so he introduced me to it a long time ago. So that's what people like my parents had all the time because you could go through it and good stuff. So a local craft whiskey, this Rolling Standard, 4 grain from Union Horse. It's under $30. I like it. It's really good in a cocktail. They have really good rye whiskey also. Their rye single barrels are really good, but they're obviously over $30. This is a really good local whiskey to me that I do keep a bottle on hand all the time. This one, I got a problem with this one. One thing I think is great. They're proudly union made. Fantastic. It's great. What sucks about this is when a bottle gets opened, the cork doesn't go back on it. There's a leakage problem every single time that one of these has been purchased. It's an old fashioned in a bottle. I don't know if you guys have had this one before yet or not.
Yes.
But I mean, for what you're buying here, it's pretty tasty. I
don't like
which
rock
I bought. This, I could get this like for the longest time. I could get it around $15,
Yes.
and it makes a pretty damn decent Manhattan. And at that money for that, it's a pretty good whiskey. And I think I still have like 3 bottles on the shelf of it because it was great to take places and have around for mixing or playing around and just for whatever. And then my last cup. Oh, good God, I have too many on my list. Makers. I got Makers 46, and then I think Pat, you and I both had Makers on our list.
And original, yeah.
Yeah, the original
Right
Makers.
around 30,
I like
25.
Makers. I'm a fan of Makers. My Makers bottles are up there. My dip bottles with my kids' names on it. I got a 4-foot Makers bottle over here on the side. I like it. Makers makes a solid Manhattan. You can find it inexpensively, both the 46 and the standard Makers. I will say Makers cast strength and Makers 46 cast strength are my favorites of those, but Makers itself, solid.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
The original is fine for me. It's a little too cherry, but once you get to some of the other releases from them or some of the stave finished projects that they have, you can get some really, really neat play out of that. So
yeah.
For what it is, kind of that beginning range, I don't see why it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I got a couple more here, and since you said cherry, the Michigan cherry flavored from Leopold. It's not this. This is not the tart cherry liqueur. This is the Michigan cherry flavored whiskey. Very well done, very subtle. You had someone who doesn't say they don't like brown liquor, give them some of this because it's pretty good, and it's good in stuff.
It looks red.
The tart now. If you want to go down to Cherrytown, you get the tart cherry liqueur because it is thick and sticky and cherry. But this just is a very nice, as you can imagine from Leopold, a very nicely done cherry flavored whiskey. Another flavored one, which I got hip to in Wisconsin at Distill America. This Kentucky coffee is pretty freaking good. It's very tasty. It's not super sweet, saccharine stuff if you want to have it. And the iced coffee, which I think your wife really enjoyed the iced coffee of this. I thought it was very enjoyable, very inexpensive. Okay, last couple that I've got real quick. Blue Note. Yes, I know Blue Note is another sourced one. It's on there. Pretty good for the money. I've had Blue Note single barrels that are $45 and they're really, really good. But this one was really good under $30. And another craft one, Cedar Ridge Bourbon.
Did have that on mine.
Just a standard bourbon. It's and just enjoy that one.
That should be on mine. It just didn't. My area didn't have it. So.
Yeah. JW Dant, I like it. I like the JTS Brown. One of the reasons how I first heard of JTS Brown was, of course, watching The Hustler. Orders JTS Brown, no ice, no glass. So, which is about how you should order it. And last one, you call me white trash if you want. There's a purpose for this. Standard black velvet
trash
by itself, yes. However, black velvet and Sprite, where you pour the Sprite and you just put the black velvet on there, and they don't quite mix. You leave them layered on there. It's very refreshing. Black velvet and Diet Coke, or black velvet and Coke, is a cocktail of choice of farmers in Iowa because it's cheap. But for the money, for what you can do with black velvet, and as what I have heard, if you like to make your own cocktail cherries in a pressure cooker or sous vide, and you're using a donor whiskey, Canadian whiskey, and black velvet, make a really good one to use with the cherries, is what I was told. So that's it. Now we're in the midst now.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch myself back down into the hole here.
All right. I'll toggle Mitch.
I'll try and go light fast. So Glendala, I can't believe this is $30. Like, it's a double cask Irish whiskey. It's incredibly delicious. Yeah.
Another one by me, not $30, but otherwise would have made the list.
All right.
Sorry, I can't switch.
No, you're okay. Well,
so Rebel 100. So this is just cheaper Rittenhouse rye because they sourced from Heaven Hill. So it's the same proof, same age, same mash bill, but $10 cheaper.
Okay.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm typing that.
I got it.
Go ahead.
Rebel 100 bourbon, once again, sourced from Heaven Hill. So this is just the old Fitzgerald, but at 100 proof instead of 80 proof. And that 20 proof does make a huge difference. So this is the bourbon that got me into bourbon. It was the first reasonably priced, slightly premium bourbon I had. I think at the time it was $14. And it was, they just dropped the 8 years age statement. So, up to that point, I think I'd had Jim Beam and Old Forester, and this I really liked, and it still holds up for $20.
Yep.
Old Fitz, what I'm drinking now, $11.50 a bottle. Absolutely delicious weeded bourbon.
It is.
Old Forester 100 proof. One of those amazing contenders for cocktail bourbons at 100 proof. And in my area, like a 1.75 of this is $32. So great value, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, there we go.
Jack and Coke.
Yeah, there's some historical accuracy for that. Just as an American, I guess it should be on the list.
When I always forget Jack Daniels isn't like $40. And every time I see it, and it's like, oh man, that's like $20. It's like, I need to have more Jack and Cokes at the house. But it is what it is, right? They've done a great job with marketing and making themselves a premium brand at a not premium price point.
I'll say this, that when you get to your bases that you're going to have at a bar, at Jack Jameson, Jack is a much better starting point than Jameson. If you're what's behind the bar, because I'm sorry, Jameson still has that not great minerality. So if you're going like bases in a bar, Jack Daniels is a much better step up from what that is.
Also, they normally run through it a little quicker than other things, so you won't have like a super oxidized bottle that's been open for like a long time.
That's true. All right, but
so this is my sub $30 peated Scotch because I couldn't get Glasgow blend for under 30 here. So this is a Douglas Lang, I want to say. It's called For Pete's Sake. I got it because I had a buddy named Pete who liked peated whiskey, and it was going to be a joke because it's like an $18 Scotch or something like that. And I was like, there's no way this is good. Poured it, and I was like, holy crap, I'm buying another one. So highly recommend. It's peated enough to cover any faults, but not so heavily peated you can't taste the whiskey.
beautiful.
Knob Creek. I mean, it still blows my mind. So they brought the age statement back. It's Knob Creek 9, and it's $23 near me. Like,
It is pretty tricky. That's nice to see. Just saying, with an age statement like that, something that seems legitimate.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, $3 a year?
Yeah.
1792 small batch. This almost didn't make the list because it is $30 near me, $29.99, and I think there are a lot better $29.99 whiskeys.
Yes.
But then you go back to just the small batch, and you're like, it is a really good whiskey. Actually, the more you drink it. So
It's fair. I like that one too, but I'd say I would lean more towards Elijah Craig than 1792 if I were.
So 17, yeah. So this is on the list. It's like $22 near me, and you can still occasionally find single barrels of it for $30 near me. And really, single barrels are where Elijah Craig sings, in my opinion.
Wow.
And for $30 for a single barrel, absolutely worth it every day.
I would agree for that. That's pretty good. And
so this is a weird one. The Busker. So I met someone from Ireland, and I told them I liked this, and they were insulted. But I love it. My girlfriend loves it. It's a lot of green apple.
true.
So if you like green apple Jolly Ranchers, this is a great whiskey for you. And only like $20 to $23.
Have you tried the other flavors of that?
So yeah, I really like the pot still, but the pot still is like $31.
Yeah.
So it didn't quite make it.
Just right over the edge.
Yeah, there's like pot still, but then there was a couple other ones that were like a
So-
different finish.
I haven't seen I've only seen the pot still, the malt, and that one. And I wasn't a huge fan of the malt, but I really like the pot still in that one.
I can see that. All right, we're rolling through a couple of mine. So I guess there you go. There you go, Mitch. Hide back down there like you want to. This pretty standard, the Glenmorangie 10. It is a very base Scotch for a lot of people. It's where it's a very nice starting point. It's solid for under 30. And that leads me to there's not a lot of really good sample sets that are out there, but the Glenmorangie sample sets are one I would invest in, especially if you're into stuff early on, because it gives a really nice flow of what you can get from port and sherry. I think there's a fourth one now that they have in there as well too, but it's an excellent kind of course and finishing for beginners that doesn't break the bank. But that's one that would sneak in on my list. Let's see here. My next one is just original Basil Hayden. This for me, very simple bourbon, not aggressive. It's an entry. It's one of the, if I'm not using a local whiskey, it's one that I would say you could use to introduce people to if you were hesitant about whiskey or never had it, or the person was, a little iffy on it. It's not very aggressive. It's pretty friendly for the price point. So I tossed that one in here. This next one slid in at under 30. Glenfarclas.
How?
It was on Total Wine. So I don't know. Maybe someone was having a thing. That's what it said. Typically,
Total Wine Wisconsin had Glenfarclas for under 30, because I look at it, now there's two of these that had questions. Like, hold on a second. It was like $59 at my Total Wine.
They could be
not saying it's not a possibility, because
they could be having a sale of some sort. They could be pulling a Woodman's and doing something goofy. But that was one where I don't know where they found it, but I did the search.
Oh yeah, that's a buy.
And wherever that is, that's a steal. This next one, I don't know if this was Sagamore Spirits. They had as their rye or a straight whiskey. It could be rye. Whatever it is that Sagamore had, if it was under 30, I would feel safe with you buying that.
Their single barrels are really good.
Yes, tremendous. So I was going to say, as a craft one, I was happy to see something land in that range. But there's a lot of stuff that just teeters right over that $30 mark in the craft whiskey world. So you don't see quite as much of them. This too, I don't know where it was on, but the normal Russells, typically around here, that 29 range, that one came on as a 10 from wherever it was, definitely steal. I would put the normal Russells on there just because I like the flavor. I think it's a little more mild than the 101. And I like, it feels more rounded to me, and I like it better overall. I like Russell's better than 101. So, but if by some place they're having a steal, go ahead. This I'm sure is probably the other one, Mike, that you were saying 30, because right now it's probably more like 45-ish or 50 in most places. There was another place that had
60s.
For like 30. So could be doing their blowout sale or switching things around. But if you ever, that's why it's good to look through stuff like that. Before you're going, because if there is some type of goofy steal like that, hop on it. That's how I got Santa Fe Spirits Cask Strength for $32. Yeah. I thought they made a mistake. I didn't say anything, and I just picked up a couple bottles. I didn't question anybody. I just grabbed them and left. So there are steals or bargain bins and stuff at places where you can make a dramatic haul, so not as much. But
so I have a question for you guys then. So I had a couple of craft ones, which most craft whiskey is not under $30. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them that aren't, but there's a couple of others that I thought of that were around $30, but not local to me. One of them was Stumpy's. I think last time I bought a bottle, I think it was like $35 in that area, but again, not local to me. And then there was in the 30-ish, it was one of the Glens Creek ones. But I was trying to think of other bottles that were craft ones that were around there.
Dancing Goat can be, but right now
it can be
around here. It's starting to be more of that 30-ish and right over that.
Okay.
A different one as well too that should have been on mine was Lacrosse Distilling's Toledo Downtown. It's their Rock and Rye. is that they have, and that's typically under 30, so that should have been on my list as well. But it's one, like you're saying, a lot of times it kind of teeters over the edge and around that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Or
I
like
would say if you're doing craft, if you bumped it up $10, you might find a lot more that fits in it. Because I was going to say, like, MB
Yeah.
Roland has some $40 things that are outstanding.
Yeah. Golden Beaver Honey Run, the Golden Beaver Pacific Flyway, that's around $30, but you know, can't ship it to you and can't get it. That's 30. I was just curious if you guys run into this because I think 30 is a hard price point for a lot of craft.
Well, it's tough. Well, Kevin brought up on the Chattanooga. I did see that in a couple things. I'm just not the biggest fanboy. But yes, they have a couple that fits that realm. I'm not denying that. Sorry, I mean to switch gears. Sorry about that, Mike. And I'm going to pour myself another drink.
So my thing was, so I used the app, so it had a hard limit of $30. Like it didn't show me anything 3001. So the only thing I saw on there that could have been vaguely considered craft was like Nelson's Greenbrier.
Yeah. But that I have on while you're finishing, I'll pull up my others.
Yeah, I feel like we missed some of mine.
Maybe
you did. If you got your list, you should go over your list because there's a chance some of the images didn't upload as we found earlier.
I'm gonna say we hit
because there were some
I have not had, but some people in Wisconsin have had and liked, and I saw that it is under $30. And this might be more of a mixing kind of fun and drinking one. Devil's River. I have like 4 or 5 people that I know that say that they like that. I've yet to have anything of it, but I say it would fit under that price point category from what I've seen from it. But I can't speak to anything on that, and I think it might be more of a funner whiskey. I don't know. No, I had all the ones on mine.
So apparently it did not copy, but Green River was the other one of mine that didn't make it. Because for $30, I thought it was pretty good, especially for like their first effort after they rebranded the distillery.
Yeah. That's on my list of, because I got a list of like 9 or so, but they're ones that I don't buy. Like all the ones I have in mind are ones that I buy and I've purchased more than once, and some of them obviously keep around a lot. But I had the Balcones bourbon, but I haven't bought it in a while. I like it and it's fine, and it's a great price point, especially for Balcones. I had Bean Black, but I don't buy it. Bullet, the rye, as another one. If you had to get, if you're trying to get an inexpensive rye, it's in MGP rye, sure, fine, whatever. But I don't buy it. Ezra 99, which is that also a Heaven Hill?
Yeah, it's sourced, I believe.
Well, it's sourced, but I didn't know if it was.
Yeah, I think it's sourced from Heaven Hill. Sorry.
Yeah, Jameson Black on there, Jefferson's, but I don't buy it. I had the Nicholson Reserve, and the Very Old Barton on my list too. So, but they're the ones I don't buy. There's a lot of them. It's like, oh yeah, I've had those. I've had these. They're on my list and stuff, but I just don't. I don't buy it. And Green River, I haven't bought it, and I liked it. I haven't bought any of it, and I want to try that rye too.
So the one that also got me was Jefferson's, but I am not a big fan of Jefferson's. I like Jefferson's Reserve, which was more than $30. So it was like,
no, there's stuff that happens like that. That's like, no, I don't. Well, like you said, the bullet things, yeah, they could be fine for most people's lists. They don't get on mine. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not a bullet fan. No offense, but
so
for most people, that might be a perfectly fine alternative.
There are better ryes to have.
Yes,
but
it can suffice.
For me, it's one of those things, right? I put 2 of the same product on there, kind of, because Old Fitzgerald and Rebel 100 are both weeded bourbons from Heaven Hill. But I didn't put Larceny or Rebel 80 proof on there.
Just issues. I like it.
I just have issues with them. Like, right? Because Rebel 80 is more expensive than Old Fitz, but everything else that Luxco puts out is cheaper. So why are you going to do that to me, Luxco? And then Larceny is more expensive than Rebel 100 and a lower proof. And it's woodier. And it's just, I don't know. It's not my thing. If you gave me $20 and you were like, you could get Larceny or Rebel 100, I would get Rebel 100.
Beautiful choice. I like that. Oh, favorite one under 30. Ooh. So that's a good question, Kevin. Do you guys have one off the top of your head that think is
Four Roses small batch.
Huh?
Four Roses small batch.
That sticks up very high in mine as well. That's
If I had to pick one, Wild Turkey 101.
It's a very solid choice.
I think it'd be the Four Roses small batch, but that Compass Box Glasgow's blend as a Scotch has a neat little pull. But I do like the Four Roses. I think is probably my favorite in this list of stuff right now. The one I'm going to sit down the most frequently with and just drink a bottle.
Also, it's one of them things. Like it's a fun memory for me because Morgan and I's first date, I got her a bottle of Four Roses instead of real roses.
What are you getting her for Valentine's Day? She's not watching.
She is, but she already knows part of it. So there's a
dozen roses.
There's a candlelight string quartet concert on Valentine's Day that's doing like the best of John Williams or something like that.
What? That's
so we're gonna go and watch a string quartet in candlelight playing like Inception music or something like that. So it's for both of us.
Dude, but John, I've argued in many occasions that John Williams is like, I don't want to say underrated as a composer, but he's like, and I'm not the greatest overall super big fan, but I think he's probably the greatest American composer of recent time. If you think of all the ways he's affected.
Okay, so it's not him.
Right.
Well, it's Hans Zimmer. That's my
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's fair.
A little more upbeat.
So
okay,
there
that's
we go.
fair. I'm just saying that there's a couple people here that I'm like, if you go back and you look at the list of songs or themes that you hear, and you're like, oh hell yeah. They both have quite a bit, but that's a good rebuttal, man.
Yeah, I mean, you could go for John Williams. You could basically name every Spielberg movie, and you know that for the most part, that's it. But
that's cool. All right. So I don't know. I think that was good. I don't know. I don't remember who Star Wars was off the top of my head. I thought that was John Williams, but
it is John Williams.
Yeah. I was pretty sure.
Star Wars, Lucas and Spielberg, and
Yeah, ripped off Mars for Vader's intro or something like that. I remember because I played the trombone in middle school and we played Mars, and I was like, "This sounds really familiar." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the music dude. Like they rip people off."
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's almost too much. That's disturbing. Like I wouldn't be happy in the music industry. I'd have some rough nights. I was like, "You sons of bitches." Could you imagine just being sampled all the time and trying to keep up with people doing something like that?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That you did make it in time to say hello, Spencer. It's good to see you, but we're just about to hop off. Damn it. So, yes, the try rice. That looks interesting. So I don't know. Like I was gonna say, this was actually kind of a fun show to see what was out there again, because I, to be honest, was kind of concerned there might not be a whole lot left that's 30 and under. Like I hadn't really gone shopping and hunting for just stuff in general in a while, And with all the prices on everything going up, I was just kind of like, this might be a fucking short list, but by the time I get out,
No,
to
you
look,
you could build quite a bar for under
Yeah.
$30 a bottle.
Yeah, that's actually what I was saying. I'm like, and for most of it, I don't think there'd be anything to be ashamed of. With any,
No.
like if people, have whiskey snobs and stuff, I'm like, anything we name tonight, most people would understand. There might be one or two that, might be off of people's list,
Oh,
but
crap. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, I have bad memories associated with that.
Well, I could see. I mean, it's
That's fair.
it's the bourbon for alcoholics.
I think it was $6 a bottle when I started drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, but make sure you stop in next week when we will be having cocktails with Blue Ice's Huckleberry Vodka. We'll be doing the lemonade, and then the other two are still up for choosing, I should say. And if anyone out there sees one that they like or has an idea, we'd be more than happy to try that as well too. So chime in if you'd like. Otherwise, Wednesday, I'll have it posted with which ones we pick, and so you could stop out and get this, because I want to be honest, it's actually pretty readily available. Mitch couldn't get it in Kentucky, but it is in a lot of places. And I don't get impressed by vodka much. And we haven't had any of the rest of their stuff, but the Huckleberry is just fun. So make sure you stop in for that one next week. But until then, remember, it's not the size of the den that matters, it's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone out there.
Cheers.
Cheers.